Hello and welcome everyone to the Thursday edition of the Semi-Pro Cup Series on this week, the first week of October. As always, I will be joined with Nizcast to give you guys some insight both into the game and into the draft. And for all of you guys who are hearing my voice, you guys are lucky enough to be watching through the Twitch channel, as we had issues that prevented us from being able to be in Dota TV in the lobby. So the only place to watch this will be the VODs and on Twitch here with us. So thank you so much for being here, guys. And I'm excited for this match. I'm excited for this tournament. Excited to get this started, as this is the last chance, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check before the so there's one more Thursday after this, Niz, but there is no Sunday after this, or sorry, there's this upcoming Sunday, which is $200, and then there's another Thursday, and then that's it for the season. So this is kind of the important tournament. The last Thursday, we're probably going to see a very big drop in attendance, because most teams are going to kind of be like, winning it's still important, sure, but you know, the $200 tournament's come and gone. A lot of the emphasis is going to be on other tournaments and the upcoming season. But yeah, this is a very important Thursday for a lot of teams, because it'll set the mood for them going into the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if teams won't show up to Thursday, because there's very few teams that actually enter that realistically think they have a chance of winning. And I shouldn't say it like that, but there's a lot of teams that recognize. I think you might have forgot to switch the screen.
No.
Oh, it's the delay. Okay.
Yeah, it's the delay. It's a little over 2 minutes, because I'm at exactly 2 minutes from OBS, and Twitch is about 10 to 15 seconds plus the time you've been watching delay and the math there. So, but yeah, no, I definitely agree with you that it's not about winning, but I think we'll just see a little bit lower of attendance, as a lot of the teams who are going to be playing in CEVO, AD2L, stuff like that, those tournaments are not coming to a close here soon, to my knowledge, so there's going to be more of a shift of attention to them until the new season of SCS comes. But all of that aside, we're here today, Niz. We haven't gone to this upcoming Sunday. All of these teams are definitely playing to get good practice in for this upcoming Sunday, to get good momentum, to do well, and to test their iron. And so far, the drafts have progressed relatively standard to 6.81, and not to 6.82 as we've seen. In fact, I'd say both of these teams are drafting very reminiscent of late 6.81, and really without any influence to 6.82 over the last week and a half.
Well, Skywrath has still remained relatively relevant. Is probably still the strongest support in the game. All these heroes are still strong. It's not like they got nerfed into oblivion. They're still very, very strong. Viper's probably the only somewhat surprising first round ban, and he's kind of 6.82 influence, but I mean, occasionally you could have seen it in 6.81, so still it's not that far from 6.81. But yeah, these heroes are just strong heroes. Obviously, you're most likely looking at a Centaur offlane for soul leaders, and Sky with whoever as a support duo, most likely roaming around, causing quite a bit of chaos on the map, which I still think, I said this early on, but I still think is kind of one of the main goals in 6.82, to really take over rune control early on in the game and start getting those bounty runes rolling. And for One World, obviously, that's interesting. One World, you still don't know what they're doing. It's most likely Wraith King support, but they could run it as a core and then do like Razor mid or something like that. But yeah, it's still, I don't know. We kind of know what they're doing, but it's still kind of disguised. The one thing that's really surprising is that sniper ban that came out of One World. I'm interested on why they chose to ban that. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much sniper come out of 6.82, but we have seen some, and his success is honestly is usually mixed in a lot of ways, because sniper is honestly one of those heroes that you have to play. If you don't play well, just because you watch somebody play well doesn't mean you're going to be able to execute it to the same extent. Sniper is a lot of intuition about positioning, knowing when you can farm, when you can split push, when you should be standing in the back of the fights, when you should be auto-attacking versus just setting up good assassinate attempts, stuff like that. And well, so it's... Go ahead, sorry.
I think a lot of that actually comes down to how your team's playing and whether they're used to playing around a sniper. Because if you can protect the sniper, kind
then
of
his
create...
drop is easy.
Almost like in football, right? How you create, that pocket around the quarterback to protect him. If you can create that pocket around sniper, then he's going to do a lot of damage. And he's probably one of the best carries in the game if you can create that environment for him. But if that breaks, then he pretty much falls over. If someone can get to him, then he pretty much is done. Right. Like, you can build him more tanky. You can go like a real old school route and go like armlet or something like that, but it's not going to keep him alive, especially now.
That's where we see the Mask of Madness and Blink build become very popular, because he can change his positioning so if the pocket collapses like you're talking about, he's not there anymore. But he is banned out, so is Brewmaster and Silencer. The second round of bans, definitely no surprise, but emphasis towards teamfight control in some sense, each hero offering different things obviously, but all of them together definitely offer good teamfight control. We'll see where these teams plan to go with the draft with all of this banned out. And One World, very interesting. They're going more single target than what we're used to seeing. There's been more trend towards AoE control or mass stuns rather than, good single target pickoff, or I guess maybe even just Shadow Demon 2 surprises me because we haven't seen much of him. He is an amazing support, and a great Shadow Demon player can take over a game, but we just don't see him that often.
Yeah, I think we've been seeing him a little bit more in 6.82, which is somewhat surprising because, like you said, AoE control is very popular right now. Shadow Demon's a hero who works for both these lineups pretty well. However, I think he does fit One World better, but I don't know if I would have gone with that as the option, but maybe they've got some other plans for it down the road. Maybe they're going to pick up an Invoker and they're going to set some stuff up like that. But I'm a little surprised that they didn't choose that. This all stems back to why they banned Sniper, and obviously I don't know this team. I don't understand why they banned Sniper. But to me, it would have just been better to spend that ban to ban out Earthshaker. But it looks like Soul Eaters chooses not even to go with the Earthshaker, and they're going to go with the Disruptor instead, which is, AoE control.
And Lycan, so this will be very interesting. I've yet to see a Lycan played competitively. Haven't been watching too much professional Dota. Have watched it here or there, but I haven't seen too much Lycan, and obviously there's been big changes to his ultimate. Thank God I'm not streaming this on a Mac, as there are bugs for everyone who plays on a Mac, where as soon as Lycan goes to ult form, the game crashes. Sad for those people, but won't be happening to me or Niz. But I really like the Disruptor. It works really well against Lycan too, especially early on in the game before the BKB. But I find it interesting they ban out the Brewmaster if they had been thinking about picking up a Disruptor. Yes, Brewmaster is scary in a vacuum, but I think with the
Brewmaster ban was from One World.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, I totally got that mixed up there. I don't know why. I had a total moment of dyslexia.
Get ahead of yourself there.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, Disruptor, very strong at setting up individual ganks with Glimpse, but more importantly, Centaur and Disruptor are very good synergetically with the way that Kinetic Field works and the AoE on Stomp. And also now with this Naga Siren, this is a very classic example of AoE teamfight control that you can pull out of the playbook with the hero pool that's out right now by just simply songing, kinetic fielding, and then as soon as the song is being pulled back and the kinetic field is popping up, you throw down that Static Storm. When that's ending, Centaur can come in, blink in. But Disruptor and Naga, very classic combo, very effective if executed well, and they offer a lot outside of that too, together as a hero combo, and I like what they have together so far, Soul Eaters. But One World, it's interesting. I don't know how I feel about them.
Well, first of all, Lycan, we haven't seen a ton of Lycan, but from what I understand, Lycan, you want to go and fight with him more often now, rather than just try and split push and just push down towers. Yes, he has the potential to do that, but you almost want to go and fight a little bit more with the hero now, which is interesting. I like the Naga pick because of the fact that Lycan's probably going to want to fight more, and that means that Naga can then kind of delay the game a little bit and do her split pushing stuff, get her radiance up, but also the ensnare will always lock down Lycan whether he gets a BKB or not. So that's a very strong pick there. A little surprised to see One World banning out the Invoker, because I think that would be a terrific pick for them right now.
Yeah, but, with the Shadow Demon, it's free Sunstrike. 10 times out of 10.
Just works really well with their team.
Yeah, that too. You know, they haven't picked up a decent... Like, I guess Wraith King is probably going to be the support here, assuming their third pick, or final pick is a core, of course. But Shadow Demon Wraith King is a decent roaming combo, but it's kind of lacking. And what I mean by that is, yeah, they have Disruption, it easily sets up Wraith Fire Blast, but, you know, after that, both of those spells don't really do damage. Right? Well, whereas if you have like a Lina, Leshrac, or other standard roaming combos with Shadow Demon, there's a lot more built-in damage with it.
If you go the more 6.8 build and you pick up, you max Soul Catcher, then you're going to have the damage coming on in the back of Disruption, because the Wraith King Stunned going to deal damage, but you still need, with that combo, you need to be ganking in a lane where it has damage. And I guess Omni Knight does that. The Omni Knight pick is rather surprising.
Well, it is a very old combo. I'm sure you've heard about this, / maybe even tried it with previous teams. But Omni Knight Shadow Demon, Disruption into repelling the illusions. And then what you do is you can throw Wraith King Eraser with that, right? And then you go aggressive.
You mean Purification?
Purification, no, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, the Purification. It's pretty easy to land. And if you do a tri-lane with Wraith King, it is dual melee. But you have, of course, the Disruption and Stun to easily set up Purifications and follow up damage kills, etc.
Yeah, that would work. The only thing I worry about is if you're going aggro with presumably Wraith King, Shadow Demon, Omni Knight, then you're getting your matchup mid Razor against Naga, but then you're leaving Lycan to go against Centaur, and I'm not sure if that's really going to work out for you.
Yeah, that's true. It could go very poorly. But I also wanted to mention before we get into the introductions here, we do have a very Clash of Titans-esque styles going on here, as we have a more single target fight you style of play versus a fight you AoE style. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting breakdown as the games go on. But I'll go ahead and get straight to our introductions, as we have the Radiant side, known as One World. Going to be playing for them. We have WINT as Mita, or Wint as Mita, as the chat has said, and welcome everyone who is the fan of him and their team. He'll be playing what looks like to be the aggressive Razor. Jesus will be playing with him on the Shadow Demon support, going up with him. Yet to be determined who will be the third, but we have Moons playing the Wraith King for them. Lycan will be picked up by @123, and finally Infuk will be picking up the Omni Knight for them.
Alright, on this Dire side we have One World, and by One World I completely screwed that up. It's Soul. I don't know why I said One World, but we have Soul, and playing the Disruptor is Crisis, playing the Centaur Warrunner is Demo, playing the Kunkka is Spectro, playing the Skywrath is Archie, and playing the Naga Siren is Showtime. What's the last? Zaho? Zaho?
Not sure if Southeastern or South American, because that would definitely change how I would approach this question. But they are going to smoke up.
I'm going to go Showtime.
Yeah, and they are going to smoke up, though, as you pointed out. And this is a cool set. I have to say, this Ice Naga set is by far the coolest looking Naga set yet to come out. And I'm probably late to the parade, as I've been a little distanced from playing Dota. But yeah, it's definitely a cool set. But this aggressive rotation with their 5-man smoke, although if you note their duration, already 3/4 of the way used up, has the potential to do a lot. But with the way that our One World has come out of the gates rather slow, it doesn't look like they're going to get much done besides warding, and that can definitely be useful. Yeah. But interesting to use it.
Typically when you pop the smoke this early, it's a matter of just the movement speed to get down there and get into the jungle setup, rather than trying to surprise them with the fact that you have a smoke. If you want to do that, then you pop the smoke a little bit later. You obviously get to the jungle later, but you're in smoke, so you can come up around under here
That makes
and
sense.
then you know what's going on as the smoke pops and stuff like that.
I think that's actually a very intelligent rule to put it. Oh well,
They
you know what it
double
is?
smoked?
They're gonna go
Whoa.
ahead and create a third exception to your rule, which is we're gonna smoke out of the base to get to their jungle quick, and then we're gonna smoke again, so we can guarantee a kill. Now the only hero that's in potential threat right now is everyone's favorite in the chat. We have Asmita. Might be a little bit in trouble as the Omni Knight, not anyone really there to back him up. Now, it is worth noting, as it doesn't look like too much is going to come out of this right now, we do have an Omni Knight solo bottom. Not sure who he's going to be going up against. It looks like there could be a potential tri-lane as multiple heroes are rotating towards the bottom lane. Maybe they're rotating back for a kill, I don't know. We'll see who stays, but how do you feel about leaving an Omni to farm bottom? As we've seen a lot of Omni farming versus Omni support.
I think that's fine. I don't think Omni will. I mean, he's not going to beat what I imagine they presume is just going to be a Centaur. He's not going to beat him. However, he's going to do okay. He's going to get a little bit of gold, but mainly he's going to get the XP. And that's really what you want in Omni, especially to get him rolling with that. However, if Omni does get a really good start against this Centaur, he can actually start really bullying him around. If he goes like the phase boot, max degen kind of build. But I don't think he's going to be able to get that kind of start, nor is he going to go that build, most likely. But we'll see. But I'm actually surprised that they're going aggro with the Razor, but that'll work too, because Lycan should do relatively well against Naga mid. However, it's going to be Kunkka mid, so that might throw them off. As Lycan will still do okay in this lane, but it's probably not what they expected.
No, but the nice thing is, I think they have good kill potential too against Lycan. You're definitely right that he can get what he wants to, but there is a high risk that he will die attempting to do that. Disruption and stun, like I said, there wasn't follow-up damage. And, in my head I had the thought, well, if they rotate in the middle lane, of course you have the Razor to static link, ideally before the disruption goes off. But now that they're running a full committed tri-lane where all three of these heroes are together, I feel like the problem with this roaming duo isn't really a problem because they can just consistently go on this tri-lane. But yeah, you can already see the fear that's been put into them in this lane. And they're just immediately going to drop, no, they're just going to start stacking up. But yeah, as Naga's going to just try to get experience here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a, I guess they can't really rotate anyone.
No, that's the thing that actually try versus try is really going to do. Is it's going to lock up the support so they can't really roam around.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do have potential to kill Lycan if a support can get there, but it's very difficult for them to get there.
Yep. And conversely, it's going to be very hard for Ao to rotate. But I don't think they feel like they need to at all. Nor do I think they should. If they can get a kill, just like this right here, Disruptor might be caught out, and there's the Disruption. A 3-man slow, but it's not going to be enough. There's the Wraithfire Blast, the Static Link to suck up the damage, and the right clicks, Moon's going to be the one who secures that, but that might work out very well for them, as they're going to have an early boots on Wraith King, set up those stuns a lot easier, just make life a lot better for them in this tri lane.
Yeah, that was very good. Obviously, I thought they actually should have been over to the right, more around that position to begin with, but they made the rotation over. They managed to catch Disruptor. The only thing I'd like to see on the back of that was Skye was out of position and had to run the long way around. That way. That was prime opportunity for Shadow Demon just to step down and pick up secure that top rune, as his mid was already going bottom. But yeah, that rune just sits there right now. So it's still free for anyone, as Lycan did get the bounty when he went bottom.
Well, there's definitely a thing to be said that illusion runes are by far the most left alone runes because they relatively have low impact. Very situationally can an illusion rune have high impact, but yeah, it will finally get picked up. So at 4 minutes, we will see a new set and hopefully something a little exciting, like a haste or DD, so we can see some more action.
I actually think illusion runes is probably, I think it's one of the strongest runes actually.
Because of the vision?
It requires quite a bit of micro to really utilize it. But you can bait out a lot of stuff, especially early game. You can bait out just a single skill, and that could be huge in terms of how a fight's going to go. Or you can put pressure on just from coming in from one side with an illusion, and knowing that someone's going to have to react a certain way.
It's all very true. And First thought that came to mind was Vision, but that's definitely a true...
Well, Vision's always, you know.
Yeah, but no, that's definitely a very, very important thing that I just didn't consider at the time, and definitely worth noting. Some action might have happened top, but not really surmounting to much, as bottom lane is turning into a farm fest, and no surprise there. Currently, the Centaur is winning this farm fest, but I imagine Amita will take an advantage back once he gets that soul ring out to him. The courier is going back and forth, yet to be upgraded.
Centaur actually dominated in the first wave, and then Asmita basically used his mana to purify himself and get health or get creep kills that way, and that kind of brought him back in to this lane. But Centaur, of course, is still winning, and he is going to be out ahead as is expected. But Soul Ring is flying in now, so that will help him quite a bit.
For them knowing that Skywrath Mage is gone, they're going to go ahead and go on this. They have the disruption, Link, as well as the stun onto Crisis. He's going to fall. Looks like they're not going to dive Showtime, and they don't really have a reason to. You can definitely beat a Naga by beating her down, but another way to beat a Naga is, of course, tear apart the team around her. If Naga doesn't have a team to create space for her, she's not going to get farmed to do what she needs to do. And so they're definitely focusing on the supports, but they could definitely make that work into the mid game if they want to. But focus might go on to Razor here, as they do have Glimpse. I don't think he'll be able to get in range. It looks like he finally will. That's 2 points in Thunderstrike. Interesting decision, as it looks like. And his luck is probably going to go down, as there is that bolt from Skywrath Mage to clean that up. And continued Arcane Bolts going out, but not too much going to happen, as it's level 1. Probably go for the Silence level 3. But that was an important turnaround kill for them, to be completely fair. They needed to get it. I just kind of am held up right now on this Thunderstrike. I personally strongly disagree with leveling up 2 points into the Thunderstrike. I really like the Glimpse because of the obviously the cooldown cost and what do you call it, range increase each level. But
the Thunderstrike will give you more Triverse Tri-Strength. However, I don't like how it transitions out of the early game, and I think that's exactly where you have a problem with it as well.
No, definitely. It's the strongest.
You're not a hero
nuke
who's
in the
getting
game.
a ton of XP, right?
Yeah,
so
it is the strongest nuke in the game, but nukes are nukes. At a certain point in the game, you really just want utility out of your support heroes. And it's like, you know, Vino is another good example of this. Gale and Sting can be an amazing build if you snowball, but if you get behind, you're never going to be able to be a contribution to the fight because you don't have wards. You don't have, you know, what you need to help your team because you tried to snowball. So that's kind of what this build does, but Crisis could work with it. We'll see how they do with it. Of course, they did get that kill with it, and they are able to secure their pull, as the Radiant side devoted 2 wards to the river, and with the new change to runes, do you think that's necessary in this? Because I still only think 1 is. Actually, hold your thoughts. Is Jesus going to be going on into the top lane? They did get the link before the disruption, so Crisis getting a lot of damage sucked up, and they're going to go for the stun on him, cleaning him up. Here comes Spectro, though, throwing out the Torrent. It is off the mark, so it's not actually going to kill anyone, and Fook is going to get 2 kills out of this, maybe even 3, as there's a Wraith Fire Blast follow-up. Spectro is going to fall, make that a triple kill for the Wraith King, and now Wraith King is going to die to the creeps. Can Razor clean up the Naga? It looks like it's going to be a close fight. To 1 more second till Static Link. There's the net. He's going to go ahead and wand up. He does have the Static Link, but I think there's too much magic damage in Showtime. Plus, Archie on that Skywrath Mage are going to help clean it up, but 6 kills in total going to the side of Ao, as of course Razor got a triple kill before he was able to be cleaned up, and that's a big change for them as we go to the fight recap, and we see basically a slight advantage, but an advantage nonetheless going to them out of that.
Well, while all that was going on, Asmita actually got the kill on Demo in the bottom lane. I don't know if, you know, the Centaur was just watching top lane.
It didn't actually calculate that in the
It was on the, there was like a mid-fight show game recap, or show fight recap.
Okay.
That's why. But yeah, I don't know if maybe he was just paying attention up top. I actually just saw it on the minimap, but
well, top there is going to be more
walked
action,
up purified.
and Fook is in trouble as he does get slowed, and then netted, now taking the damage from the Thunderstrike. There's the disruption from Jesus. Very well played, as that is going to stall up their pursuit. I don't think Enfook should fall here at all. He does have 9 wand charges. Of course, with Tango's in that headdress, his regen is insane, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and press forward. He pops the wand charges, throws out the plasma field. But that's just going to force Naga back, and again, not too bad of a problem. The amount of pressure, I guess that's an important question right now, Niz, for you and the viewers in a lot of ways, is do you think Ao is doing enough in this aggressive tri-lane to put themselves in a good position going into this mid lane, or do they need to get more to get where they need to go?
I think they're doing okay. They're really delaying the Naga. Naga only has 10 CS, and the Lycan's doing fine in the middle lane. He's actually beating the Kunkka. Pretty much on par, but he's beating the Kunkka. But in this bottom lane, Omni's now starting to win. He's just bullying the Centaur around. So this is going to become a one lane. There's no way that Demo's going to be able to come back.
He's in range a bit, and I think with these right clicks, no, he's not going to go ahead and pursue it. It's going to force a TP, though, in rotations. He does get the Purification off. Centaur down to 10 HP. Should survive here. He's going to actually chase down the Centaur. Gets the kill. That's 2 for Amita. And meanwhile, Asmita. And since that forced the support rotation out of the top lane, the pressure from this tri lane is just going to mount up. And yeah, action in the middle lane is mounting to be not much of anything, as it is just going to be an exchange. Lycan did use his ultimate. We didn't get to see him charge it up like Dragon Ball Z style, but it will happen eventually, guys. But Spectro survives that dive, which is important for him. But this top tower is taking a ton of pressure. This tri lane, now a dual lane, taking even more pressure. Crisis does glimpse back one of the 3 heroes, but it's not going to be enough. He dies. Yeah, and Song was wasted, as Niz said. It is late. Not going to do anything. Demo is up here with the team, but to be fair, the 3 heroes standing on the side of the Radiant are more than enough to deal with the 2 heroes that are currently present from the Dire. And this top tower has fallen. And this game is definitely starting to lean towards an early game going to the favor of OW. That does not mean they will win this game, but they are definitely looking to chalk the early game in their favor.
Asmita needs to be careful in this bottom lane. I think he's actually going to be okay now, but there was a moment there where TPs could have come in.
If there's a glimpse, if he doesn't repel, he will. Okay, so now there's no chance of a glimpse. Of course, he could wait until any point when the glimpse was cast, so he could cast that repel, and it would not be used or be pulling him back. But better safe than
glimpse,
sorry.
of course, has a projectile.
Yes, it does. And the longer it is, the longer the projectile is. But we will see what happens up top lane, as they are not relenting on this tri lane at all. They are maintaining a full aggressive tri lane.
Did Demo see that? Maybe. I'm unsure.
I mean, he definitely saw them rotate. The question is, did they click on it? Did they see the word? And will they click on it afterwards and put 2 and 2 together?
Well, I think it's, it's just worth the sentry. Because there's a high probability that he actually did ward there.
Well, 5 heroes all coming up here, but again, that ward maybe not spotted out, as they're really not doing too much to deward it. In fact, Disruptor runs right under it, not showing too much care to avoid it if they knew about it. So this 5-man rotation is going to turn into a waste in a lot of ways, as they're going to move all of their resources into one lane. By not getting any kills, I think that forces them to accomplish things by forcing this tower and fighting in the bottom lane. But OW has the what do you want to call it, the advantage of choice here, which is where they could choose to bring heroes to defend it and clash here, knowing the lack of Song, or they could, kind of set up like they are in this bottom lane, take this T1, trade a T2 that's a Roche tower, and sacrifice a non-Roche T1 for 2 Roche towers.
I think you just go for the tier 2 bottom, and I don't even know if Soul is actually gonna push in this top lane.
Yeah, they're gonna go ahead and break up.
Yeah, it was a rotation to kind of stop the potential for the tier 2 push, but
if they do lose the T1, boat is going to be thrown out. It may not hit on anyone. It does hit on Razor the last second, but he already has his mechanism up online. As we didn't point that out, we can go ahead and pull up the item graphs to look at what we have so far. Moving. But okay, so then the Vlad's is also a relatively new pickup, as he does have that medallion as well. And they are able to posture them completely away. Soul letting OW bully them into a position where this tower is completely basically given up. Yeah, no, Asmita is going to get pulled back, but honestly, Crisis is the one in trouble, as that can playpen put him in a position to get absolutely run over by the Radiant side. And now 1, 2, 3 going to continue to push. I don't know if he should do this. He's going to go ahead and summon up Wolves. He has 3 bottle charges and a haste rune running, but they're just going to go ahead and continue the push into the T3.
They're too far ahead.
Yeah. Do you think this turns into a full Rax, or do you think that Soul has enough to hold them back? And actually, wow.
GGs have already come out. Yeah.
No, that was an offensive GG.
No, they came up from Nugget.
Oh, I did not see that. Wow. So they called GG really early, and I don't know. What do you think about this, Niz, considering that this is 6.82, and if there was a single turnaround?
I think it's over, to be honest.
You do.
I think this game's over. I think it's very hard to stop them. They're snowballing all over the place.
Well,
Omni's
They
sitting at
did call GG,
3.2k.
but the game has not ended yet, so we might as well say it is continuing. But Radiant side diving the Dire side base, and honestly, the Dire side is just crumbling under the weight. Niz calling it. Niz is correct, and no Flamerino as Anfook may dive the fountain, but he walks away living for a while as he does finally get cleaned up. They won't get the racks out of this yet. They will probably get it now. But the fact that they got a racks 13 minutes into the game didn't change in the last patch, probably won't change for a long time in Dota, if ever. Rax sucks, and the sooner it happens, the worse it is. A two-man stun coming out of Demo, so they're able to clean up both Moons, as well as the Lycan with that stun. And now, as Mita is on the run, as we do have the Bolt coming out, of course it's not going to do much when you're immune to magic, rather you're spell immune. And Omni Knight walks away. Rax is down, 12 minutes in. We see a major swing towards Soul,
Well,
but at the
unfortunately,
cost of a structure. Very important structure, rather.
that's something that really, like, just doing kind of a fake or a man or GG, I guess. I don't like to see that at all. But you know, at the same time, you shouldn't be diving that far. Even, you know, if the game hasn't ended, it's obviously not a real GG. There's no reason to dive found. And now a GG comes out again, but who knows if this is real.
Yep, definitely seems like some discord between the side of Soul, and it's hard to deal with. It sucks. Nobody likes dealing with drama, but sometimes that's the part of it being a competitive player. And of course, for Soul, the most that we can say is you can't read into it too much. Sometimes you have bad games, sometimes other teams play better. The best thing that you can do is go back, learn what you can about yourself, and make some better plays the next game. But the push into the mid T2 will start, as it's already down to about 408 or 800 HP. It will drop to 400 any second now. Boat is going to come out, and it looks like to be a relatively well-aimed boat. Hits on Moons only, though, as they didn't have anything to hold him in place. And now Demo activating the Stampede, running in. Stomp only on Lycan. The Torrent, great use of it. Going to hit on two. Lycan going to charge up that ultimate, turns into a wolf, and he's going to start going man. But is it going to be enough? Demo is standing under 4 heroes right now, and he just gets absolutely cleaned up. The Radiant side is just too big, too strong, too quick. And they have a wolf that basically plays Super Saiyan before he turns into a wolf. But yeah, this game kind of felt, I don't want to say it because it's like, with all due respect to both teams, it just kind of felt underwhelming. I felt like both teams kind of like had a ships passing in the middle of the night, you know what I mean? Because the Soul side has great team fight, and I feel like team fight's one true strength in every single game is they can defend their base and towers, because teams who push or are going to be pushing or snowballing want to push to get more structures to secure their advantage, so you use your team fight to defend structures and win from there. But they never really tried to do that, it seemed like.
They lost their solo lanes, and they didn't lose them very, very hard, but they did lose them. And they also lost the tri lane, and from there, then they kind of got picked off as well. Which means they basically
kind of a slow grind to death is what they felt.
Well, they never really got to the point where they were able to team fight. Like, the train had already fallen off the rails before that. So, I mean, they're getting kills, but they're getting kills when fountain dives are happening.
Right, right. No, it's definitely not a good situation. And creeps flowing into the base, and Fook is the only one who's going to be continuing to beat on Rax, and we're going to be seeing a one world into the next round. But honestly, with nothing except the intervention of God or Zeus himself, Soul is going to be walking away with a first round defeat. Bitter defeat, but it's up to them to be the better team and learn from it, etc. But Niz, what kind of insight do you have for them, the viewers, on this game? If there's anything that you think is worth taking from this game specifically?
I think Centaur was doing fine bottom, and then all of a sudden he died. Like I said, I didn't see what happened there. I think he was looking at top. Mid went okay as well. Yeah, just kind of the top lane. It wasn't so much that their tri lane really screwed up. I think both tri lanes could have played quite a bit better, but they ended up losing their tri lane, and then they really devoted a whole bunch in the top to try and defend towers, and it just didn't work out. It was just a huge waste of time. And during that point, that early to mid-game transition, that was where they were gaining all their advantage, really. And it was almost 1,000 gold a minute, the difference, by 10 minutes. And that was just because of that kind of wasted time. You know, it started right from the beginning, where they threw away essentially 200. Maybe you could say they threw away 100 gold for one smoke, but they used 2 smokes to go and get those wards up, which those wards didn't have any value really. So they were they spent that 200 gold banking on hopefully trying to get a kill, and it didn't happen. It's just kind of maybe a questionable risk to make at that early point in the game. But if it worked out, then I wouldn't be calling it questionable, right?
Well, that's the nature of the game. That's the nature of playing competitive sports. And Soul, tripping a little bit out of the gates, will fall in the first round. Of course, Ow, aka One World, will move on. If you guys enjoyed this cast or enjoyed listening to either of us, please follow below on Twitch TV/DotoRaptors. Just click that follow button. It helps us so much. If you want to watch our casts on your own leisure or whenever you want, etc., then check out youtube.com/DotoRaptors, where all of our casts are archived, where you guys can check them out and subscribe there. And finally, if you enjoy Niz, if you like listening to him and you think he is smart like I do, then you should follow him on Twitter at Nizcast. And that'll do it for us, guys. We'll see you into round 2 action. Most likely going to be following One World. So if you're a fan of them, stay tuned, as we'll be seeing them in round 2 action. Lost my mouse.